Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a 2v2 played on the map Twin Rivers. This was played on the 2v2 team matchmaker, and let's go ahead and get into introducing our teams with Team Red or Team 1 at the top, and Team Blue or Team 2 at the bottom. Let's go ahead and start in the very tip top in the far north with the Red Aeon best faction. Going first land by the name of XXXXXXX, otherwise known as X, and he is rocking this northern position. As to his southeast, we have a Red Seraphim worst faction going first land, and his name, of course, is Callous Rat. Then we can move on to Team 2, starting with the light blue Aeon going first land. His name is Master P187, and he is the best faction. As we move on to the last player, yet another Aeon, such a beautiful game with so many beautiful players picking the right faction, and it is of course none other than the Shiny Shooter, aka Sergeant Syphilis, aka an awesome supporter of the channel. And that's gonna be all for player introductions. Let's go ahead and look at the map. Twin Rivers, an absolute classic, has been played for years and years and years. And let's go ahead and look at it. Around 10,000 mass for each team to reclaim, or for both teams to reclaim. That's on the entire map, not... It'd be very impressive if one team reclaimed all 10,000 mass, okay? Okay. And of course, we have these various ways of attack. We have two little islands on the sides, even though they technically wouldn't be islands since these are rivers. These would be bigger than this. The middle area is technically an island. I've had this conversation many a times, and it continues to be something that I think about every time I look at this map. And of course, we also have this central area, which is even more so separated into kind of two distinct lanes, this mountain range in the center, making it feel like there's two kind of distinct land battles going on at any given time. We have our first little bit of action with some engineers out from both sides reclaiming, notably the Shiny Shooter getting into those transports. And I believe that this engineer over here is coming to, yep, grab up all of that. Unfortunately, his life is going to be cut down well before its prime as a flare shows up to kill off that poor little Seraphim engineer. But then again, he had it coming. He was Seraphim. And of course, both sides going to be trying to harass and keep each other from getting any kind of advantage in this game. As the commander of Callous Rat starts to walk towards the middle. And over here on the southern side, the comm of the Shiny Shooter showing up to the middle himself. And we have a lot of players going out, grabbing their mechs expansions, and just trying to, in general, build up their economies and get ready for the storm that is going to become of units killing each other. Flare getting into the back line after killing off that engineer. Another engineer going to be under threat back here, trying to expand for Callous Rat. Going to be very unfortunate to lose two engineers to one flare in the very, very early game. Any map, of course, it sucks to lose engineers to any kind of harassment options early, but of course, losing them on this map means it really slows down your expansion to these four mexes in the back. There is going to be a Selene and Thumb as a response to this flare, but the flare has already paid itself off, and then some, getting a rank of veterancy, killing off two engineers that were both doing relatively important tasks. And I'm sure that the Shiny Shooter will be just fine with losing that flare to the Thumb here in just a second. As the Shiny Shooter showing up in the middle himself with the commander, going to be firing into those Thumbs. Going to be able to kill them off. 3 shots to kill off each, assuming you don't miss. He does miss sometimes. Nobody's perfect. And with that, the early game is going about as expected. And you know what else is going about as expected? You and clicking the like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel a ton, and I appreciate each and every one of you. You all are so beautiful, and this community we've built is so amazing. Speaking of the community, consider joining the Discord if you want to find a bunch of like-minded FAF people who do the FAFening pretty much daily. There's almost always somebody hopping in VC and doing it. And here soon I'm going to get back to streaming, so you will have more interaction with me if you join that. You can always try and join up whenever we're live streaming games and play with us. So, of course, we are kind of just chilling, waiting for either side to get a critical mass of units built up. It is a relatively low-rated game, but there's multiple players over 1,000 ratings, so I'm going to keep it out of the subpar commander. And also, I know a couple of these players personally, and I know that they are well above 1,000 rating, especially the Shiny Shooter. He is around 1,400 rating-ish. And of course, when you join the team matchmaker, you do have a soft rating based off your global rating and other things, so it's relatively balanced, but you have to take everything with a grain of salt, and even the game quality knows. Not a particularly balanced game, but does not mean it is not going to be a fun game. As the commander of Callous Rat starts to walk its way down south, killing off a mechs and walking towards the commander of the Shiny Shooter, who is currently just still building up. T2 mechs finished up for the Shiny Shooter already. Wouldn't be surprised to see an early T2 land switch. The Aeon very fond of getting out of that T1 land phase, as the Aurora is not all it's cracked up to be. Yes, it is good with micro, but is not always the most fun kind of style to play. We have 5X versus Master P showing up over here on the northern side. Aeon versus Aeon. Holy War on Holy War. Gonna be a lot of fun. Speed now on the way for the Shiny Shooter, and he is going to be enjoying that upgrade very soon. He's getting it relatively quickly, basically as fast as the comm can build it, meaning that he's not in a power or mass stall. Oh, nope, now he is in a power stall, so you can see that number kind of freaking out. Probably needs to pause some of those factories. He has quite a few running right now. Master P 187 is currently being pushed back by 5X, and 5X is having a great time here. He's going to really be able to put the screws to Master P and get a huge advantage here, as Master P is going to be losing that forward land factory, and he's going to be able to get off a few kills with the commander, but he's going to be left worst for wear, as 5X possibly in a situation where he could kill off that commander. Not sure he would want to, though. Had to take a drink. Casting games back-to-back really does a number on your throat. And remember, everybody, stay hydrated. It's very good for you. Got to keep that water intake going strong. Speaking of things going strong, the first upgrade for the Shiny Shooter already down. Speed, a very strong upgrade, but you want to know what's even stronger for the Aeon? Their range upgrade. It gives them more range than all of the other comms. So it is going to be a very powerful upgrade, and with proper micro can give him a huge advantage in these fights. He is also working on getting up a little bit more air production here in the back, and also some air production in his main base, and has taken the lion's share of the mechs in the back lines here. Over here to the northern side of things, we have a T1 bomber or two out from Master P, going to be shot down very quickly as we continue to see 5X walk. I know how to speak. March his way in towards the base of Master P, who is going to try and throw up a PD or two very quickly, and once those are up, it is going to save his base quite a little bit, assuming the fervors aren't necessarily micro to the best of their ability, and the eruptors could get a decent amount of damage, but it does seem as though the Shiny Shooter is trying to cheat. What a salty boy. And it does seem as though they are going to bypass the main base of Master P altogether and start making their way in towards the back line, which could be a very devastating play, but there are some T1 bombers out on the field starting to slowly clean this up. The interceptors out from 5X can't really stop this. 5X also doing an amazing job of getting up here to the north, grabbing grabbing up this little kind of island and grabbing himself a 4-mex expansion lead, as well as getting a lot of reclaim over there. Speaking of reclaim, the numbers are looking good for the Shiny Shooter, Callus Rat, and 5X, all above 2,000, and the Shiny Shooter himself above 3,000, but 500 only for Master P. Master P gonna be in a very rough position here, as he's just kind of been knocked down quite a bit by his opposition. But on the other hand, the Shiny Shooter doing very well for himself, up to T2 land, starting to produce those T2 engineers, maybe going to need to get out a T2 power generator, or maybe this is for an early Oblivion. But of course can very soon transition off of those T2 engineers and into a more unit heavy composition, maybe see some Obsidians or Blazes or the oh so powerful Asylum, as the Shiny Shooter walks up with his gun upgrades, and Callus Rat has no upgrades on the comm, and he is just starting to eat those heavy Aeon rounds to the face. And while they may look tasty, they are anything but, let me assure you. They hurt like the dickens, as the Shiny Shooter continues to fall back. He's fallen back into the loving arms of his own Auroras. He's microing away from all of that deadly Zooey fire, and his Auroras are starting to deal their attritional damage, using that superior range to get damage done. He is using attack move here, which when you're up against a very heavy artillery force is actually kind of a mistake. You can see a lot of his units sitting still, getting shot at by those artillery. He's going to lose a lot of Aurora here. But the good news is he has that commander, and that kind of just negates any real damage he's taking here. That commander is going to be killing off much more than he is losing at the moment, and this huge reclaim field is starting to form. We're looking at already over 2,000 mass to reclaim right here. Who is going to be able to get into that is the question. Will Callus Rat be able to maintain control of this area due to his close proximity, or will Sergeant Syphilis be able to push him off and grab up all that reclaim for himself? A few units trying to run by down here to the south, going to be caught off by the Auroras of the Shiny Shooter. Up here to the west, we have ourselves a bit of posturing coming out from 5X. He is going to be continually attacked by the bombers out from Master P, and bombers very good against the Aeon in particular, especially the Shimmer and the Scorcher, able to get a lot of damage down onto these units very quickly. T1 PD has been thrown up hastily by Callus Rat, but it's just going to be taken down by the gun comm out from the Shiny Shooter. The Shiny Shooter, a very nice reference, referencing Warhammer 40k. Love Warhammer 40k, it's lore, it's video games. Haven't played the tabletop, really want to, but it's relatively expensive to get into, and I know Tabletop Simulator exists, but it's just not the same, okay? I want to paint models, I want to have the full experience, okay? I'm weird. Let me have this. As the Shiny Shooter has managed to set himself, I know it's Shooter, but I say Shooter, I'm sorry, has set himself up a bit of a base down here. Odd that he chose to get the mass extractors before the factory, but doesn't seem to be affecting him. As we can take a peek at the economies, the Shiny Shooter already up to 60 mass a second, whereas 52, 44, and 26 are the mass a second of 5X, Callus Rat, and Master P respectively. And currently, Shield on the way for the Shiny Shooter. He wants to continue to use this comm. He wants to continue to get value out of it. And with Ilshevas coming on the field, feeling as though he needs a little bit more to make that happen, he's going to just let the comm upgrade by itself. Doesn't have any engineers assisting, which means it's going to take a little while. Also, most likely, going to have trouble affording that. Yeah, in a mass stall. He is getting up another T2 P-Gen, and needs to address his mass stall, unless it's caused by upgrading mexes, in which case he might want to pause if he's doing multiple. But he is sitting on a relatively strong economy as of the moment, and that shield upgrade is going up relatively quickly. Looks like it's going to be about 50 seconds out, as he has managed to either pick up enough reclaim. Nope, he just needs either more reclaim or to pause some stuff to make that happen a little bit faster. He is starting to get out those oh-so-deadly obsidian tanks walking around, or I guess rolling around, strutting that extremely powerful 1500 HP personal shielding and a very, very nice bursty alpha damage gun. Let's go ahead and stop looking at the shiny Shuda for a little bit. I know he's been kind of the most aggressive, and let's check out over here to the north. Master P has done a relatively admirable job of getting himself out of the hole he was stuck in, being locked into his base. He's managed to push forward, grab these two mexes again, and has set himself up relatively well with a decent land force. Doesn't really have enough to really contest against 5X, but he's not in too much danger just yet. Gun speed on the way after getting T2 for 5X. Very interesting build. Usually you don't see speed without range, but if you want that T2 upgrade and you just want the little bit of a DPS boost that speed gives you, it is very much so worth it to go for that. As down here to the south, there is a ton of fighting going on. Ilsheva on Obsidian action. There's only one Obsidian left. Oh, no, scratch that, make it 2. But there's a lot of Ilshevas still pushing down here, and this could be a very dangerous attack coming out onto the front for the shiny Shuda. A bunch of T1 bombers coming in. Shield is finished up for the shiny Shuda, but he's taking a lot of damage from T2 PD. He's going to be able to dispatch the last of the T2 PD, and he's going to be able to continue to fight, but now he's down to just his base HP. He is naked, and it is going to be a scary time as he's now being enveloped by two groups of Ilshevas and other units. Is he going to be able to walk out of this, or is he just going to die here? The bomber's coming in, really causing him issue. He's down to 9,000 HP. That shield is not regenerating nearly fast enough, and he's taking a lot of damage from these Ilshevas. Needs to get in a rank of veterancy, and he does. And also most likely needs to get out a few good overcharges. Does he have the power for overcharge, or is he stalling? He's not stalling. He is going to get another overcharge out relatively soon. That goes down with another Ilsheva. He's up to 7.3 thousand out of 10,000 mass killed. He just needs to kill off another 2,000-ish mass to be able to get another rank in veterancy, but he's in danger, and falling quickly is his HP. But he will be able to just barely, by the skin of his teeth, make it out with 4,000 HP. Whereas on the northern side, there is a bunch of Obsidians now out for 5X. Pushing down towards Master P. He's going to try and throw up a Mar Flak, but that's not going to help you against this land force. Has an Asylum out onto the field. First player to build an Asylum, which means he truly knows the way of the Aeon. The Asylum, such a powerful unit, and you need to mix it in with every Aeon land force. I will say it now, and I will say it again, and I'll scream it till the end of time. Build Asylums! They're so good, and I might be a little bit crazy because I've been around so many Asylums in my day, but that is a issue for another time. Instead, today we're focusing on this game here, and this game here has been a pretty good game so far. We've had some action back and forth, but neither side really able to get the upper hand. I would say that map control is going pretty handily over towards Team 1, as Team 2 has just not been able to maintain and keep safe their 2 mechs expansions for each of them respectively, making that 4 mexes, and the middle of the middle island is basically fully controlled by the red team. Meaning that the shiny Shuda and Master P just overall are going to be a little bit behind, and that is showing up in the mass tables as about a 20 mass a second lead showing up for Team 1. And overall reclaim is looking very healthy for Team 1, nearly double the reclaim so far, but that does not tell the whole story, and either side still has a good chance in this game. Nobody has taken too critical of damage, but up here to the north, that might be changing as a huge army out from 5X is going to start bearing down on the position of Master P's main base, and if these manage to get in without being contested in any way, shape, or form, this could be a deadly attack. And honestly, I don't really know how Master P wants to hold off this attack right now. His commander has speed, and range itself could bring that over. If he has a few overcharges in the bank, can definitely make some value out of that, but needs to be careful because he only really has a few T1 units to defend, doesn't really have a good T2 force out and on the field. Down to the south, a large attack now coming out from Callous Rat, who is starting to use T1 bombers yet again to harass the comm of the shiny Shuda. But that shield is back online. He's not walking into T2 PD, so it's going to take a while for that shield to go offline. And with this Obsidian Force, along with that Oblivion there adding some damage, and the comm throwing out overcharges, this attack is almost surely going to fail, and that is going to lead to a decent little reclaim field here of about 5,000 for the Shiny Shooter to try and get into. We don't see any forward engineers out from Callous Rat at the moment trying to grab this up, or maybe there's just this one, which one is still more than none, so I shouldn't be slandering him by saying we don't see any. Absolutes make an ass out of you and me, like, assumptions. Moving on, large army out from 5X are making its way. Yep, that was English there. The army go burr in south direction and break thing. Me Willow, me Caster, me Smort. As these Obsidians start to make their way in towards this back base of Team 2. And now there's some T2 mexes and even a T2 Air HQ under threat. Flares and a single Obsidian showing up in response need to keep these units moving out of Master P. We also have some Spectre gunships starting to be produced. If he can bring those Spectres over, maybe he can save the T2 Air HQ. But right now it's looking pretty hopeless. It's looking like the Shiny Shooter gonna lose his Shiny Air HQ. And it's a disaster now for Team 2 as they fall even further behind economically, over 25 mass a second behind and plummeting. They have taken huge blows here out from 5X with his masterful run by, just ignoring the base of Master P to get at the juicy behind and penetrate the defenses of Team 2. Over here to the north, we have T3 land now finish up for the Shiny Shooter. We have our first bit of tech coming out on the field that represents that, being a couple of Harbingers. The Shiny Shooter finally going to lose his shield up to 10,000 mass killed on that comm, 5 ranks of veterancy, as there's Harbingers bearing down on this force out from the Callous Rat, and that is going to result in a full retreat coming out from Callous Rat. But he does have a bunch of engineers reclaiming that fight from earlier, and his reclaim, I would imagine, is just going through the roof as he's at 12,000, and the closest to him is his own ally at 6.7 thousand, a 10,000 mass differential between total reclaim between these teams. And that is going to be brutal. That's going to change very soon with the Shiny Shooter getting back here to rebuild his own base. But that's the thing, he's rebuilding things he has already built. It's not like he's just getting mass from a neutral fight. He's having to get mass in reclaim from his own structures. That's overall a net loss. As we have T2 Navy finish up here for 5X. Not really going to be able to do too much unless he goes full on for T3 and gets Torrents, but does have a destroyer, does have a cruiser. That's just kind of some safety options there for Team 1. Protect from some airplay. And we have 2 tactical missile launchers finished up over here for Callous Rat. What's he planning to do with this? Is this a possible tactical missile snipe onto the combo to Shiny Shooter? You're going to need a lot with 16,500 HP and an 8,000 shield to boot. Going to need quite a little bit, but instead it seems as though that's going to just fire in towards the base maybe. And yes, it does indeed do exactly that. What is it going for? I think it's going for a... That was a point defense. Needs to make sure he notices that. Needs to make sure he starts building those T2 TMD momentarily. He cannot afford to be sitting here losing structures to a tactical missile launcher. Needs a TMD right now. That TMD could come in and start killing off power generators, and that would be horrible. And that, luckily, the tactical missile launchers are firing at something that doesn't exist anymore. Is he firing at... Not sure what he's firing at, but the TMD does seem to go up in time. More queued up and on the way, but that's going to slow down the production of this T3 power generator, as he's having to use the T3 engineers to build TMD instead of that P-Gen. Up here to the north, a decent little fire base now thrown together by 5X, as well as a decent fire base thrown up from Callous Rat. Do we see anything spicy going on in the back lines for either of these players? No, not currently. And with the game being a little bit slow at the moment, let's go ahead and speed it up. These tactical missile launches really not achieving anything. One TMD stopping them in their tracks. Needs to be careful that he doesn't lose that TMD. And also just needs to continue to let his opponent waste so much mass firing all of these missiles into an already protected area. Over here to the north, a bit of a run-by being attempted by Master P, but unfortunately, there's more than a answer to this. There is, in fact, a complete-ass solution in the form of this large army. And now we have some T3 mexes going up for Dashiny Shuda. He has managed to maintain his economic supremacy over everybody else in the match despite the setbacks. And with that T3 Mex, he has now propelled his team into the better economic situation. Callous Rat has sat on his laurels, has managed to lose a T2 Mex. That must be to a tactical missile launcher, I would imagine. Either that or T1 bombers, which is also an option because we've seen a lot of those kicking around for both sides. Oh, nope, we have a tactical missile launcher over here. He's managed to kill off 5 units. And he's just continuing to kill things off over here with this tactical missile launcher from the side. And that is going to be a 2-vet tactical missile launcher, and it's going to just be able to continuously fire as long as the Shiny Shooter gives it targets. But there are enough TMD now thrown up to kind of just negate that, as it were. One scary situation is the T2 air that the Shiny Shuda had has been shut down, and he's not going for any more air. But we don't see any capitalization on that by 5X or Callous Rat. Neither side really going for teched up air. So it doesn't seem like they're going to be punished too heavily for that. For losing such a key piece of technology. And we can go ahead and look down here as a GC is nearly complete for the Shiny Shuda. And they have looked at it. Oh, man. I'm going to build a GC. Do they have ships on your side? No. Luckily, maybe you can get a drop. So I'm screwed. Get TMD. They can only reach the mexes on the edge. What? GC. All right. So they have seen the GC. And now the GC has completed. And it's going to be able to walk forward. Will it be able, with the Harbingers here, to break this force? I think so. I'm not seeing anything too scary here. We do have some sniper bots. We do have some Authams in the back, but not nearly enough. And with the GC walking forward, we're going to slow the game down to normal speed. And the GC is just going to continue to fight off all of these Zooies. The Zooies shift G'd on top of the GC, trying to mess up its pathing. T3 mobile shield picked up. Very funny to watch that happen. Autham picked up. And now the GC. Something big exploded, apparently. What was that? Oh, Callous Rat Control K'd. And now he's in the chat. He is so angry. This needs to be on, Not enough master time. Have to kill now. GG too late. We have to stop. We have enough to stop. No, we don't. Pussy, you're fucking shit. Suck my dick. Calm down, everybody. Ah, so juicy. Fun fact, the reason the salt mines are called the salt mines is I just love it when people get salty. And the salt mines is the name of my Discord. It's Willow's Salt Mine. And of course, with that, I don't know if 5X can really stop this. He has a GC of his own started up. He's sitting on 241 mass a second, so this is going to be built very quickly. Health just flying onto that GC. But will he be able to stop the GC of the Shiny Shuda before it just walks into his second base and kills it off? And now, with all of these Harbingers showing up, there might be a chance with the Asylum going down. That's going to be a huge boon, not having to burn through all that HP. With Harbingers being picked up with the fixed beam now on the GC. Stop moving your GC so much. Just let it stand still. I want to get a cool shot. Laser beams! GC starting to take some damage. It's caught on fire now, down into yellow. All of these units out from 5X looks as though they may be able to stop the GC, but I don't think they can kill it. They're killing off a lot of the units out from Master P that were trying to assist there. The Shiny Shooter working on another of his GCs, and another one after that. He's decided that GC spam or lose is his strategy. He's not a big fan of losing. He lost this to something, most likely. I'm going to just say T1 bombers because there was a whole bunch of them sitting over here earlier. Any of these wrecks look like bombers? Nope. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. The world may never know. I mean, yeah. These could all be bombers. Yeah, those are bombers. Bombers killed all this off, okay? That's the story and we're sticking to it. The Shiny Shuda saying he's going to wait for his second GC before pushing. His first one has 3 ranks of veterancy, giving it 85 HP a second, which means it will theoretically be able to get all the way back up to its full HP of 130,000, but it still will take a long time. But it is a huge boon, as it just gives him a lot of HP to play with. The GC out from 5X is about to finish up, and he has another one on the way right after that. He's going to try the same exact strategy as the Shiny Shooter. The question is, does he go on the aggressive, or does he just try and defend with his own GC? Does he push up here, maybe try and get rid of Master P and get into the back line? Or does he send it south and try and deal with that damaged GC first? It's always a question, but either side still could win it. Such a relatively even game so far. The mass differential isn't that big, less than 10,000 mass between the teams in total generation this game. As 5X tries to win the 1v2, now building up another Galactic Colossus. But there's already 2 on the field currently for the Shiny Shuda. And the Shiny Shuda, I think, has a little bit more land forces to assist. But that may be wrong. There are a decent number of T3 units over here, more than the Shiny Shuda has access to. So this could go either way. And has he noticed the enemy GC? He does see it right now. The GC having larger vision than it has range means that it's going to be able to run away, but it can only run for so long before the enemy GC locks on. Now you have to turn around and fight. Oh, the Shiny Shooter just going to allow his GC to get shot at. Oh, that's really, really unfortunate. It went from 30,000 HP to 10,000 before it turned around. But now another GC shows up to take its place, and this should be an even trade. As the Shiny Shuda is going to be taking a decent chunk of HP damage from the Authams and that Harbinger. Oh, it's actually looking like maybe the GC of 5X will survive on almost no HP. And that's going to be a huge, huge deflating moment now for Team 2. They look like they may have a chance in this game, but now they have just dropped nearly a 70,000 mass over on this side of the map, and right now 5X is in it. And he can definitely start spamming out GCs way faster, I would believe, than the Shiny Shooter can. The Shiny Shooter still trying to get out GCs about as fast as humanly possible. And his team overall has more mass income. He's managed to drop a Harbinger into the back lines, and he's going to be able to use that to kill off some of this mass generation for 5X. And 5X isn't responding. A bunch of Spectres now being built by Master P. I need mass for GCs, says the Shiny Shooter. But with all of this reclaim pouring in, you can just see it. 5X went from relatively low reclaim on the charts to 20,000 in almost no time. And once he gets to these, he's going to be going to easily 60,000. He just needs to make sure he continues reclaiming. Is he able to spend all the mass he's reclaiming? Yes, he is. He's doing a good job with it. GC walking forward. Master P under threat. Master P may just be going down. Another GC is finished up for the Shiny Shooter, but not nearly in time to save the light blue Aeon from its almost certain demise. The GC stops to try and just kill off the fire base first, buying some time for Master P to run away. And as the GC continues to push forward, the artillery gets knocked down. And the Shiny Shooter walking forward with his own GC and making himself known, trying to make sure that the two GCs over here from 5X, maybe he can get the reverse play. Maybe with all of this air presence he can get himself set up to kill off the two GCs of 5X. But 5X still looking in a very strong position, could maybe turn around, and as long as he gets the targeting of the enemy GC onto his high health one, he could maybe get the kill without losing a single GC. Using interceptors to stop restorers? Did I see a restorer? Oh, there are restorers now coming onto the field for the Shiny Shooter. If he gets enough, he just kills off all the interceptors, and life gets a lot easier for him. But he has another GC about to finish up, and we're just at Galactic Wars. Oh, GC handed over to Master P. And these GCs being reclaimed up, and as I said, 5X up to 40,000 reclaim and climbing. Needs to make sure he keeps a lot of these engineers reclaiming, though. This Harbinger up to 10,000 mass killed, as it's killed off all of the mexes in the backline, leaving 5X at an economy lower than that of Sergeant Syphilis, or the Shiny Shooter, sorry, Force of Habit. And a GC about to go down to a single restorer. Oh wait, no, there's another GC firing at it. I'm just dumb. Man. All of the galaxy shall know that this colossal fight may have just decided the game, but no! Another GC showing up to try and save Master P's base. Sergeant Syphilis is sitting on a much stronger economy now. He can afford to produce GCs faster. And with the situation the way it is right now, things are going a little bit south for 5X. He's struggling to manage everything. down goes the GC of 5X. And with that, is that his chances in the game gone too? He's still building his own GCs, but it may not be enough. As Master P is in the base of Dashiny Shuda getting Ras. And another GC is finished up for Dashiny Shuda. Now Dashiny Shuda is back to a position we were in earlier, where he has 2 GCs and the enemy has, well, none. And 5X trying to build another one very quickly. He'll be able to get it done very soon. Let's go ahead and speed it up, as it seems we're just waiting for Dashiny Shuda to build up the confidence. He's at 1 rank of veterancy on this first GC, as it's managed to get quite a little bit done with just killing off an enemy GC. The Shiny Shuda has yet another GC, 3 on the field, 1 being fielded by 5X. I need power. I'm building more good now. And yeah, I really like to see the duality, as it were. Also, let's go ahead and just give you all a pretty shot of the action. The duality, as it were, of these 2 teams. The team with the salty, angry players, the team that was arguing with each other. Well, I think they're the team that's currently losing. And the team with cooperation and teamwork, the team with beautiful people being beautiful to each other, that's the team that's winning. And that's what we should all walk away from this cast with. Be kind to each other. And also like and subscribe. Or join the channel membership or Patreon if you're feeling especially generous. As the GCs walk forward, the base collapses. And the GC of 5X, it's not gonna be enough. The Restorers out from Dashiny Shuda being used to clean up any land forces that may come out from 5X. A GC gifted over to Master P. A nuke built on the fly. All of it seemingly unnecessary. All of it seemingly for flavor. As we have a Galactic beatdown going on between these 2 GCs. And I'd like to thank you all for watching. Thank you to the patrons. Thank you to the channel members. All of you all are so damned beautiful. I'll see you in the next one. This is Willow, signing off.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the